Hello and welcome to Undercommon Taste. This is a podcast where we create and discuss homebrew content for tabletop RPGs.
I'll be home for Christmas. Yeah, that's all I got.
I'm Ian Woodworth. I'm joined by my co-host James Daly, and today we are going to be doing a holiday one-shot because it is almost Christmas time. At the time this releases, Hanukkah will have just started. We will be 3 or 4 days into Hanukkah. And it occurred to me not too long ago that though I wrote a solo game, Forever Home, like back in 2023, I think it was February 23 is for the Anamnesis Game Jam.
Yeah.
I never
that seems about right.
showcased it.
I know, right?
And so we decided that we were going to fix that.
Yes.
Mainly because it didn't require us to wrangle anyone else into a recording. It is much easier for the two of us to agree on a time to sit down and record than it is for us to bring anyone else into this situation. So this year we are going to be doing a playthrough of my solo journaling game, Forever Home. As I said, it was written for the Anamnesis Game Jam, so it only requires a deck of tarot cards to play. And the general premise of the whole thing is that you just bought a house and now the house is trying to do the things that houses do to homeowners.
Yeah. So when you were describing this to me, I very much got the image of I think it's like a late 80s, early 90s Tom Hanks movie, The Money Pit.
I've not seen that one, but it sounds situationally appropriate.
Yes.
And I think I may have mentioned this in the past, that my inspiration for writing this game. So as listeners may know, my parents have a goat dairy. They make goat cheese. And so during the middle of the year, so from May to October, I set up a booth at one of the local farmers markets and sell goat cheese for them. And one particularly nasty, cold, wet, gross Saturday morning in October, I came home. It hadn't been a particularly productive market. It was cold. It was nasty. I was just chilled. And all I wanted to do was come home, turn on my little space heater that I have sitting next to my desk here at my computer, and just play some video games and thaw out.
Yeah.
And I turn on my space heater and it surges and cuts off, and then surges and cuts off. And then I hear a pop and I smell smoke.
There's blue smoke.
Yeah, I let the blue smoke out of the system. And so it stopped making the electrons move. And the outlet next to my computer that I had my space heater plugged into, it had given up the ghost. It was an older one and the contacts were starting to go. And apparently it started to go just enough to where the contacts shorted out and it arced and it burned out the wire going into the outlet, shorted everything out and burned up the outlet. And so instead of getting to sit down and relax and thaw out in front of my space heater, I got to make 3 trips to Lowe's and spend 4 hours rewiring half of my office.
So basically you had to pray to the Omni Spirit and get the proper number of purity seals.
Yeah, I had to say my litany to the Omnissiah, and yes.
I
And
love
so
the Adeptus Mechanicus. They make me happy.
And as I'm working through all of that, the adage, make a man a fire and you'll keep him warm for a day, set a man on fire, you'll keep him warm for the rest of his life, that somehow clicked in my brain. I can't possibly imagine why. And and the next logical progression of that was that my home was trying to keep me warm for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay warm for the afternoon, and it decided it was going to keep me warm for the rest of my life. And so that was the inciting incident that led to me writing this game. Fast forward to today, a couple weeks ago, I went and finally got a chance to take my licensing exam to get my home inspector's license here in the state of Tennessee. I have submitted my paperwork. I'm waiting for the state to finalize all of that. And so the themes and topics in this game, combining my education and work towards becoming a home inspector, the fact that right now I am working as a handyman and doing lots of home improvement projects for various people and finding all kinds of crazy and fun in the largest air quotes possible issues in different people's houses, which I'm not going to go into because otherwise we're just going to spend 45 minutes of me complaining about the things that I found in other people's houses before we even get into the game. But yeah, these are the sorts of things that I do on a daily basis. And so I had a substantial treasure trove of ideas to pull into this game. And so we're just going to showcase it today.
I think the moral of this story is that when creating a game or scenarios or starting down your homebrew, draw on your life inspiration. Use what you know. Go with that.
Yeah. And that there are two schools of thought. One of them is the write what you know, and that is a great way to go about doing it. But also, if you don't know it, don't let that stop you from doing it, because if you want to write about something, that means that you're interested enough in it to do the research for it.
Yeah.
And so use that as your reason, as your impetus to actually better yourself.
Absolutely.
And go and learn something new.
Better living through gaming.
Yeah. Who doesn't want that? So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into the game today. Just like when I was writing this game, James was very instrumental in helping me get all of my prompts together, because I was running into some serious blockages in my gray matter trying to come up with prompts for this game. And he helped me organize how I was going to do the prompts and help me generate a large number of these prompts. And so while this is technically my game, I did all of the mechanical stuff and whatnot. This game would not have happened if James had not been there to help me. And so that is a very on-brand thing for this podcast, is that yes, James is my ideas person. I have I want to do this thing, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to vomit up all of these ideas until you get enough good ones to work with.
I am 85% certain that Ian tried to make a pact with a fae for a muse, and the twist was the muse is me.
I would not put that past any fae entity that I may or may not have encountered in my life. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm going to start off with the intro page, just reading this off. You've just managed to buy your own house. Congratulations!
Yay!
That is far from trivial in today's economic climate. Even more so 2.5 years after I've written this. Almost 3 years after I've written this.
Congratulations, you have a 50-year mortgage.
Ugh, don't even get me. The issue now becomes that, because you own your own home, you have to maintain your home. And because you spent all of your money to buy your home, you don't have enough left over to hire professionals to come in and do the maintenance on your home. You have to learn to do it yourself. This is an important conceit in this game. Even if you happen to receive a windfall of money, it is always just enough to buy the materials for the job, but never enough to hire a professional.
Isn't that the way of things?
Besides, you're an enterprising, intelligent adult. Why shouldn't you be able to figure out how to do it yourself? You have decided that this house is your forever home, the place where you plan to live for the rest of your natural-born life. The trouble is, your forever home seems to have a mind of its own, and it's determined to make the rest of your natural-born life as short as possible. As time goes on and you're subjected to more directed attacks from the house, the sentiment will likely become mutual. It's you versus your forever home. Only one of you will still be standing at the end of everything. Now, I say that, but there are two options where either you compromise and come to an understanding with one another, or mutually assured destruction. We will get to that whenever we get to the final act of the game. So for starters, you separate out the major and minor arcana into two separate decks. And then you further subdivide the minor arcana into the number cards, so ace through 10, and the face cards, so page, knight, queen, and king. Ace through 10 are used for acts 1 through 3. The face cards are used for act 4, and you only use the major arcana during act 5. And the way that you play the game is in each act, you will flip one of the minor arcana cards, and then you will flip a major arcana card to go with it. The minor card will determine the prompt that you're using, and the major arcana card will determine the sentiment with which you approach this particular obstacle. We will clarify that a little bit once we get that far. With the minor arcana, the 4 suits determine which part of the house is affected at any particular time. Cups, that's your bathrooms, your utility rooms, so closets, laundry rooms, garages. I would include attics and crawl spaces in this as well. Pentacles is everything on the exterior of the house and all of the structural components of the house. So your roof, your foundation, any outbuildings, any landscaping.
Siding.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Swords is your bedrooms and living areas.
Okay.
So specifically bedrooms and living rooms and dens and game rooms and things like that. And then wands is the kitchen and dining area, including the pantries. So anything involved with the storage and preparation and consumption of food.
So the bedrooms.
Do you want ants? Because this is how we get ants.
I mean, that could be one of the prompts. We don't know yet.
Is this how we get ants, Barry? Yes, other Barry. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's start off with the first impression. Here is where we're going to be starting off with our generation. This is us determining who our homeowner is, what the house is, and all of the description and setting that we're going to be playing in. So we start off on this one with just the major arcana cards. You will not get any good ASMR of me bridge shuffling because that is one skill that I have never quite managed to attain.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's
because my parents never let us bridge shuffle the cards when I was growing up.
Fair.
And so it's a skill that I never developed.
Okay.
And I've never really needed to. So it's always worked out for the best. Okay. So to start off, the first card of our major arcana describes the area around the house. So is it a rural area, suburban, urban? Is it in a subdivision with an HOA and carefully manicured lawns? Or is it surrounded by trees and choked with weeds? So the card that we have to inspire us for this is 3 the Empress. And I am going to be using the Rider-Waite interpretations of the major arcana to help us with this. So the Empress keywords would be femininity, beauty, nature, nurturing, and abundance.
Okay, I'm hearing Empress. I am absolutely thinking a Karen. This absolutely is an HOA. Are you leaning in a different direction?
I kind of am because it's because we've got beauty, nature, nurturing, and abundance.
I can see, with the exception of nurturing, because again, you get those HOAs like in those really nice, like almost like the golf club things, and they're definitely like the hoity-toity. They're definitely in the quote-unquote abundant part of town.
Yeah, I can see that this would be like a well-to-do area.
Yeah,
but I'm seeing like very meticulous landscaping, like lots of like minimal lawns, but like lots of hardscaping, lots of perennials.
Yeah, see, that all screams HOA to me still. Because again, they have that like, it has to look this way. It has to be...
but HOAs, they are very flat green lawns, like manicured lawns.
Okay.
That's the mental image that I always get with an HOA.
Okay. So something almost like a, like if you go to a timeshare type community or a B&B type house where it's kind of in that, like maybe away from town, kind of like an outskirt, maybe like in the foothills or low mountains. Okay.
I'm picturing like this is a house in a historic district, maybe.
Okay.
And so it's got like the proper southern historical districts with like the magnolia trees and the Rosa Sharons and all of those things going on.
Something like Biltmore?
Yes, but not nearly that big.
Okay.
I'm thinking like the historic district in like Abingdon, like downtown
Okay.
Abingdon, or in Jonesboro.
Yeah, I
You
could see
know,
those.
it's a town that is well to do.
Yes.
The people who live here have a decent amount of money. They're not uber wealthy because they're not, living in a gated community, but they are well to do. And you have to be well to do in order to have one of these historic homes because there are very strict regulations on how you have to maintain your house, which I think plays into your desire towards the HOA.
Yeah, there's a definite lack of freedom and leniency towards how the house will and how the home will be maintained. And I almost want to say that yeah, no, I like that. A question of whether or not this home is haunted by a spirit. I don't know if this pops up later in the game or not,
Um,
but
it is never anything that is explicitly addressed. If
okay.
you want it to be a supernatural entity doing this and not just, the maliciousness of the house, you're more than welcome to skin it that way.
I could see this home definitely, if not possessing itself, having with it a not quite malevolent, but a very rebellious spirit. And it does not like
Yeah.
the imposed formality and the imposed regulation upon the property.
Um, Either that or it goes from the other end of like, this is the original matriarch of the house,
Okay.
and this is her house.
Yes.
And how dare you change her decorations, her styling, her
Yeah.
aesthetics.
Yes.
Um, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But I think I like that this is a house in a historic district
Yeah.
of a town. Okay, so the second card is going to describe the exterior of the house. So what does it look like? How big is it? How old is it? What materials are we using in the construction of it? Is it in good repair or does it need some work?
Come on, the
And
tower. Come on, the tower.
not quite. For this one, we are getting 18, the moon. So it is way down there towards the bottom. So illusion, fear, anxiety, subconscious, and intuition.
Yes. So when I lived in New Jersey when I was in third grade, the house I lived in, it was an old duplex. It was fairly old, but the greenery, the wood growth is very similar to kind of what it is here in East Tennessee. It's very dense. And so like walking back from the school to this where this duplex was, there was just a front of woods, and then you had a driveway that went in that went straight back, probably about 25 to 40 yards of just wood that was very overgrown. It didn't quite have a canopy over where the driveway was, and the house was set back deep into that. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe like some moss, some covered stone, maybe like a stone with wrought iron fence, kind of get that Adams Family late Victorian kind of building to it.
I
So
was
something
I was
around.
absolutely feeling a Victorian because of the Empress.
Yes.
The Empress was instantly put me into Victorian mode.
Okay. Probably some
Um,
constructed around 1700, 1750, somewhere in there.
Maybe a little later, like early 1800s.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely in that sort of vibe. I like the stone. I like the stone facade. I mean, red brick would also be very appropriate, but I think a stone facade really speaks to me on this one. And coming in on that, I'm picturing lots of ivy climbing
Yes.
up the outside of this house.
Yes, absolutely. Thick leaded glass windows.
Yeah, and I like the really steep slate roofs.
Yes.
It's got a slate roof on it, and
So a
I'm
little more European on the architecture.
a little bit, yeah.
Okay. So again, this would probably be a house you could find again less. I don't know. I'm feeling less southern and more probably mid Atlantic, not quite New England.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
Less
Like,
colonial and more. Yeah.
yeah, this is more antebellum.
Yeah. More Gothic, less Romanesque.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, Gothic. You have those big. For those that understand, you have the big like pointy peaks. You have it's more ornate, where Romanesque is the kind of square, blocky, very functional look. Like, is it the Jefferson Memorial? That's the big square with the pillars. That's very
That's the Lincoln.
Romanesque. The Lincoln, okay.
Lincoln
Yeah,
Memorial.
that's very Romanesque, where again, something obviously like the Munsters house or the Adams family house, that would be more of that Gothic look to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling this.
Stone facade, slate roof. I like the imagery that you had with the shaded but not necessarily covered and crowded driveway.
Yes. The greenery is encroaching.
Greenery, ivy. Ivy is a very important aspect here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm picturing this as it's not necessarily dilapidated, but
it's weathered.
It is, yes. It is that appearance of the person who is living here or who up until recently was living here is an elderly individual living by themselves and isn't able to maintain the property.
Okay.
So you have the appearance of a rundown but occupied home.
Yes, I could see this too, where like the mailbox is rather filled, or was at one point rather filled with notices from the historical society saying, hey, you're not maintaining this property, you need to keep it up. And they either did not care, did not have the ability or the inclination to follow up on this. And so if they were going to get fined, perhaps they knew they were on their way out and they just gave zero fucks. Or yeah, they had bigger fish to fry. And so they were just like, I'll get to it eventually, maybe. Or what are you going to do about it? I'm not going to be here in a couple of years. So what?
Yeah. It's like, I'm also getting the feeling that it's sort of you can't get blood from a stone.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have the means to do the things that you're telling me to do, and I don't have the means to pay the fines. So go ahead.
Okay, you know what? I don't think we purchased this home. I think we inherited this home. I think this was an inheritance, and this may have been a slightly removed or slightly distant relative, but that cantankerousness, that spirit of rebelliousness and
cantankerousness.
Yes, that word is probably a familial trait.
I think so. And not just cantankerousness, but the pure pig-headed stubbornness.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I think if that's the case, I think that it isn't a financial reason why we're not bringing anyone else in to deal with this.
It's pure spite.
It's pure spite. It's like, this is my home and I will take care of this.
Yeah, like the family, and this has been the family, it's been in the family's hands, and the city kind of sprung up around us, and how dare you declare my home your area?
The family has owned this house for 200 years.
Yeah. You're going to tell us how to take care of our property? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love it. Okay.
How dare you, up and coming historic society, tell us what to do with our land? We didn't agree to join any historic society.
Yes, I love it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So moving on to the third card. Third card describes the interior of the house. Okay. How is it decorated? Color schemes, material choices, etc. What sort of layout and floor plan does it have? How many floors? Does it have an attic and or basement? And are these areas finished or unfinished? Have previous owners or the original builders, if this is a new construction, made some questionable design choices?
Absolutely.
And here's where we get 16 the tower.
Yes. Yes. This is the Winchester house.
All right, so the tower is sudden change, upheaval, chaos, revelation, and awakening.
So this house has at least 3 floors, including a fully finished basement.
Yes.
The basement at one point was probably a coal cellar for heat. That has been changed because electricity was almost certainly added early on, probably in the early 1900s, and probably...
Yeah, I see this as being this was a party house in the 1920s.
Yes.
This was a roaring 20s party house.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I would say that the electricity was probably updated once again in the 60s or 70s, but not after that point.
Yeah. So going back to my current work experience, the house that I've been working on has a combination of wiring in it that is original 1948 construction, which is two-wire ungrounded electrical
Oh, sweet Jesus.
combined with Romex grounded electrical from a remodeling job in the 90s, plus some more modern Romex grounded, properly installed and everything up to code that was installed when the current owner bought the house in 2019.
Do you have dice on you by chance?
Yes.
I'm going to call high-low. Roll me a d20. If it's 11 or above, the slate roof has been updated recently-ish, and 10 and below, it is older.
Okay. So I'm using a D12, but it's still going to be high-low.
Okay, yeah.
Low. That's a
Oh my,
1.
perfect. Oh my. Yeah, this is probably not the original slate roof, but again, this roof's probably 80 plus years old.
Which, for a slate roof, if it's good quality slate, which this probably is, that's a perfectly reasonable amount of time for this roof to function.
Yeah.
But because we're saying this is like mid-Atlantic, Eastern Seaboard, in the 80s and 90s, acid rain was absolutely a thing.
Yes.
Which means that the copper nails that were used to attach these slate tiles to the roof have probably been slowly corroding away.
Okay.
And so at this particular point, and I do point this out in this first impression section, keep in mind that nothing has gone wrong at this point.
As of yet.
In fact, everything that could have possibly gone right so far has.
Okay.
If there's anything you dislike about the house, it should be something that you perceive as a minor issue that can be easily changed or fixed.
Yes. Indoors, the paint is almost certainly leaded.
Oh yeah, but it's going to be under like 3 coats of paint.
Yeah. Is there asbestos in the house?
Well, see, these are things that are going to come up in play. These are not, because keep in mind, nothing has gone wrong at this point.
Right. I just want to know
if there is lead paint, we don't know about it. If there's asbestos insulation, we don't know about it. If there's asbestos floor tiles, we don't know about it.
Okay. I figured we'd put it down, and that
is something something that will come up during play if it comes up at all.
Okay. I will say that there's probably 1 or 2 of the dumb waiters that connect the upper and lower floors through the house.
Yeah, dumb waiters.
Especially like in the bedrooms, the pantry areas.
I'm seeing, because of the age of this house, I think this is going to be radiator heat, like boiler and radiator heat.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm going to guess that this is probably going to have wallpaper in it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because that was a very popular thing. And the wallpaper will probably still be in decent condition throughout most of the house. There may be some places like the bathrooms that have been updated that are just painted. They're not wallpapered. But I think that in the hallways and the bedrooms, they're probably going to be wallpapered. I don't picture any of this being especially garish. I think this is pretty subdued. Because we've got that gray stone facade on the outside, the slate roof, it's very bichromatic. It's very gray and green on the outside. Okay. And I feel like it's fairly subdued on the inside as well. Maybe not. Maybe we do have some bright colors because we're talking about, all of this greenery, all of these trees and stuff, this shading and this encroaching greenery on the outside. It may be fairly dark on the inside of the house because you have a lot of trees.
Okay.
So maybe they did use some bright colors. I'm going to say they probably use bright colors in the living spaces, like in the parlor rooms, in the entertaining rooms, just to sort of brighten things up a bit.
Okay, so this does bring up a question. We have to consider the previous owner a bit. Previous owner, again, as they passed, we've determined we're elderly, which means they probably got this house themselves, say in the 60s or 70s-ish, maybe?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Did they go with the atrocity of putting carpet over the original hardwood floors?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that would be to the point of going garish, and I don't think that is the sentiment of this house.
Okay. Then, yeah, probably I like the dichromatic. I do like maybe 1 or 2 rooms that are bright, but by and large, Oh, it's not a paisley. What's the cloth that has like the floral designs, kind of like the fleur de lis designs on it?
Oh, yeah.
We have that pattern on the wallpaper.
Oh, yeah. There's absolutely pattern on the wallpaper. The
Yeah,
wallpaper is pattern. It's not going to be single colors,
yeah,
but it's tasteful.
yes, and
Yeah.
old. It's probably starting to yellow a bit. I wouldn't be surprised because it is
In
older.
I would say that like in the areas on the southern side of the house where there is a little bit of sun that comes through, you do have some of that yellowing from the sunlight. But again, most of the house is going to be pretty dark, pretty
Okay,
shaded. And so it's going to be protected from a lot of that.
okay. Ooh, in the attic, you have that one large stained glass window that brings in a bunch of light, and
Oh,
it's just that
yeah.
one. Yeah,
So stained glass dormer
yeah,
window in the attic, in the finished attic.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Okay, so moving along to the next part, this is where we determine who the house and the homeowner are.
okay,
So at this point, we remove the fool and we remove the world from the major arcana deck for reasons that will be apparent at the end of the game because the fool and the world have special prompts for them in act 5, and so we need to make sure that we don't use either of them for the homeowner or the house at this
okay.
point. So we're going to shuffle those first 3 back in here, and then we're going to shuffle up. So the first card is the homeowner card. This card represents the protagonist and will shape their personality and how they respond to the house. 9, the hermit.
Yes. This fits with the family lineage. I love it.
All right. So I'm going to be using the upright interpretation for the homeowner and the reversed interpretation for the house.
Okay.
So the interpretation for the hermit is soul searching, introspection, being alone, and inner guidance. This is definitely somebody, they are a single person. They may be one of those individuals who has decided that my bloodline ends with me.
Okay.
There are definitely those individuals like, I don't want kids. I never want kids. I am perfectly content living by myself and not having to rely on anyone else.
I could see that. Have you ever played Stardew Valley?
No, I have not.
Okay, so the beginning of Stardew Valley, it starts that like your grandfather writes you a letter
Yeah.
that your only
I've played Harvest Moon that Stardew Valley is based
is
on.
based off of. Yeah, so
Yeah.
again, it's that you are tired of the rat race and you open this letter and you get your moment of reprieve. And so I could see this as again, it's kind of that rat race thing, you're trying to live in whatever community you're in and you realize that you're inheriting this home and I mean, the fact that you don't have to pay rent anymore is a huge financial burden
Oh,
that is
yes.
being lifted off of your shoulders. And you are very much ready to kind of step back from working those 45, 50-hour weeks and slowing down just a little bit to kind of catch your breath, maybe refocus your life a bit, kind of figuring out again, this is probably a single homeowner
Yeah.
going with the hermit. But yeah, definitely taking that moment to kind of step back in a way from that very, again, not even a 9 to 5, but
Yeah.
overworking all of the time.
See, I don't know if they're working like a 9 to 5. Maybe they have decided to give up their 9 to 5 rat race job to pursue some other like creative endeavor now that they have a place of their own.
That's what I'm saying. They're stepping away from that 9 to 5. They're done
Yeah.
with it. And this is their opportunity because they don't have to pay that rent all the time. So they
Yeah.
can give up that job and kind of figure out what they want to do with their lives now.
Yeah. Because this strikes me as, this house strikes me as the sort of familial house of a family that has assets. They may no longer be as wealthy as they once were, but they are not hurting for money.
I'd say within factions or parts of that, yes.
They have enough passive income to live comfortably as long as they make,
Manage.
yeah, as long as they manage their money and, live within their means.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think, just given the whole soul searching, introspection, inner guidance parts of this strikes me as somebody who is, they're going in with the intent of making like self-help content.
Okay.
Whether they're writing a blog or doing a YouTube channel or writing books or something along those lines. This is giving me like self-help guru vibes.
Yeah, they're going to learn a whole lot of self-help through this. Okay. Yeah, I like it. I think we can work with this.
Okay. And then the house is going to be 6, the
Among the
lovers.
lovers. Yes. Yes, I love it. Okay,
so the lovers reversed is self-love, disharmony, imbalance, and misalignment of values.
So again, this house is, again, possessed or has the spirit of the family matriarch. And the owner thinks that, yeah, they're done. The family line's done with them. And the house, the spirit, whatever there is very much not happy with that decision. And therefore trying to push the owner to get out of the home as much as possible. And so be it with, hey, you've got to go to the store to get repair stuff or whatever that is. It's trying to get the owner out of the home to bring a family or whatever back into continue said line.
So the house is playing matchmaker in a Hallmark movie.
Yes.
I mean, this is Christmas. That is situationally appropriate. I like that. And it's, it is self-love. It is doing this for selfish reasons. It is doing this so that it can maintain its existence.
Yes.
And, disharmony, that is very much, it is creating all of these issues that are going to be problematic in the life of the homeowner to force them to engage in external interactions.
Yes. Because the desires of the estate and the desires of the homeowner are at odds.
Yes. And that is the misalignment of values there.
Yes.
Okay. I'm happy with that. I am absolutely happy with that. Okay. So now that we have that, we set those 2 cards aside. So they are not going to be playing into the responses that we're going to be making on this. And we're going to shuffle up the remaining major arcana cards and moving into Act 1. So we play out 3 cards and lay them before us. At this point, I am going to be reversing half of the cards in the major arcana deck and shuffling to try and get us a good split of upright and reversed cards for our prompts so that we know how we're going to be responding to our prompts.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to start off. We've got the 2 of rods or the 2 of wands. So this is a kitchen area. In this area, you hear a faint but persistent noise. What is it? And for responding, we have 15, the devil, upright.
Oh my.
So 15, the devil, is shadow self, attachment, addiction, restriction, sexuality. Oh my.
Oh, yes.
So shadow self, attachment, addiction. So you hear a faint but persistent noise in the kitchen or pantry areas. We can go ahead and do all of our prompts and then resolve them all together, or we can resolve them individually as they appear. I think it would be best for us to do them all at once.
Okay.
That way we can work them in together if they're appropriate.
All right.
Or if they work together. Next up is going to be the 4 of Pentacles, which is an exterior structural.
Okay.
You can feel an intermittent vibration in the floor. What is causing it? To which we are going to respond with 1, the Magician, upright. So manifestation, resourcefulness, power, and inspired action.
Okay.
All right. And then finally, we've got the 6 of Wands, which is back into the kitchen. You're walking through the area when out of the corner of your eye, you notice a spot that's a different color. What's going on?
Okay. I think I've got the kitchen.
And then for our response, we have the Fool. upright. So beginnings, innocence, spontaneity, and a free spirit. That's
Of
appropriate for
course.
that's
Yes.
appropriate for that prompt. All right, so I think we're going to start with that.
What I'm seeing in the kitchen right now, and feel free to flag me if you disagree, but I'm thinking that the stoves are gas and there is a
Oh yes.
gas leak within the stove. And so as you spend any significant time within the kitchen, those fumes start to make you feel a little fuzzy, a little dizzy. Your decisions probably are not the best as you are becoming, like I said, a little fuzzy due to the gas.
I'm going to say because we're still in Act One,
Okay.
um, and so these should be fairly
Escalating.
minor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we need room for escalation.
Yes.
I like that, but I think that the leak is small enough
Yes.
that it's not really noticeable. There's not enough gas coming out to where you can even smell it, really.
Okay.
But there is just like a tiny pinhole leak at one of the fittings to where, like, if you were to put soapy water on it, you would see the bubbles,
Okay.
but where you're not going to really necessarily smell it. But it's in such a space where it's sort of starting to discolor the tiles around it, maybe,
Okay.
because this is a leak that has gone unnoticed for years.
Okay.
And so we have years of this gas sort of just slowly trickling out. And it's over that long of a period of time, it has created this staining effect on the
Okay.
wall.
Okay.
Um,
And that's what I was thinking, like I said, because again, going with that whole like the devil, going with the addiction and
okay,
what were the
yeah.
other things? That's what I'm saying. If you're in the kitchen for a significant amount of time, 30, 40 minutes, like if you're in there about that time, you're starting to feel kind of
Yep.
lightheaded and a touch loopy.
Yeah. Attachment, addiction, restriction, the shadow self.
Yeah. So like I said, if you're in the kitchen or if you're by the stove, and again, it's not enough that like it would spark or anything like that, but again, without proper ventilation, if you have the windows and doors closed, you feel a little loopy. Not crazy
Yep.
loopy, but you feel uninhibited, we'll say.
Well, and there is, because this is an older house, this is going to be drafty.
Yeah.
There is going to be a lot of just natural airflow through this house, which is also going to help keep you from noticing that this gas leak is there.
Yeah, it's probably why it's gone undetected for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And then, maybe the way that this pops up is that our intrepid homeowner has gone in and is making breakfast in the morning and just happens to clumsily spill like a bowl of pancake batter or something.
Okay.
And it just happens to run down over the gas line.
Okay.
And it's something that's just viscous enough that it starts making bubbles.
Bubbles. Yeah.
And so they clean everything off, but they can still hear this occasional like hissing, popping, crackling noise
Okay.
because there's that little bit of batter that got down inside that fitting
Okay.
that you
Yeah.
can't just wipe off.
Right.
And it's there, and there's just enough force of gas coming through this fitting to where it's got that popping noise going on.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And then with the Four of Pentacles, we
I think
have it's exterior or structural, and there's a vibration that we're feeling.
I'm seeing this as one of the steps, like on the outside porch, might be a little loose, and it shifts just enough as you're walking out that it kind of feels like a gentle push down those last couple steps to get you out.
I don't know. I think that falls more under Pentacles than it does. Wait, no. Oh
Yeah, you
yeah,
said
this is
Pentacles.
exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, nope. We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a house like, hey, get out there, go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those where, maybe you didn't go up this set of stairs whenever you did your first home tour, or
Yeah.
you were on the other side of the stairs.
Yeah.
And so as you're coming down, that one post is just a little bit rotten and it's got a little bit of spring bounce to it.
Yeah.
And you're just not quite expecting it. And it just sort of rotates a little bit as you
Yeah.
hit that bottom.
And it could be one of those things that, like, after you step on it 2 or 3 times, you know about it, so you can either expect it or just kind of go. But on those mornings that you're just not quite 100%, or it might catch you off guard. So it's very minor, but it's definitely a
Yeah.
little nudge out the door.
Yeah. And then so we've generated what they are. And now we need to how we're responding to them.
Okay.
Because for starters, with the Six of Rods, the discoloration that ends up being tied to the gas leak, which is two, which is the devil, that sort of addiction. I think that what we end up with here, because we started off with the fool on the leak, no, the fool on the discoloration and the devil on the leak. I think that with the fool on the discoloration, we're like, oh, that's going to be an easy fix once we get this leak taken care of. All we have to do is, cut out this one tile and just replace it with another tile. It's a tile. How hard can it be?
Yeah, tiling is not a problem at all. No,
Yeah.
tile work's never a big deal.
And it's not like we're doing the whole wall. We're just doing this one tile. And because this is, an 1820s house,
Yes.
these are like original tiles.
Yeah.
These are almost 200-year-old tiles. You're not going to just find a replacement for this tile.
No, and the color matches are probably near impossible.
And if you are able to find it, you're going to be finding it in like a salvage, like a restoration salvage store, and you're going to be paying through the nose for this one tile.
Absolutely.
But with the addiction and that shadow self and all of that on the leak, I think that this is one of those things where they're getting into that headspace of, I am a go-getter. I am a self-help person. I can do this myself. I am self-reliant. And they're getting into that headspace where they think that they can do whatever. Because it is upright. It is supposed to be a positive approach to this.
I've got two possibilities for this.
Uh-huh.
Both are in the same vein. Because again, they are that self-help type person. We said they probably do some sort of like self-help book. Either they are using this to try to create their own, like Bob Ross, or not Bob Ross, but This Old House. Who was that? I forget who it was.
Yeah.
And trying to make their own like home
was
repair
it Bob
videos.
Vila?
Yeah, Bob Villa. Yeah. And so he's either trying to make those on his own, or the homeowner is trying to access these to figure out how to do it on their own to save those extra pennies. And whatever video they have is just not quite the correct one.
Yeah, and I think that they are going to also be using this to go into that shadow self thing. I think they are slightly shifting their approach to their self-help, and they're wanting to do this as a join me on my journey too.
Yes.
And their journey to, undertake all of these things in their house. And so if you want a channel, a creator that is going to be in the vibe of this game, like purely from the comedic standpoint of it, Derek Cahill, he's on Facebook. I know, I think he's also on YouTube, but I primarily see his stuff on Facebook. That's where my wife sends me his videos from. But he runs a series called Fuck This House.
Yes.
Where he is in this same sort of boat.
Okay. I'm feeling it.
The various things are coming up that they're finding in the house that they bought. And it's great. So if you want to vibe check this game, go and watch some of his stuff. And then finally with the steps and the magician. So we have manifestation, resourcefulness, power, inspired action. That's how we're going to be approaching this. I think, going with the manifestation, I think they might see this. This is the final piece that clicks into place that tells them that this is what they're going to do. This is their
project.
This is their calling.
Oh, okay.
Manifestation, they're going to manifest this social media presence.
So this staircase is like episode 1?
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like it, yeah.
Okay. So that's Act 1. So we've got Act 1 taken care of. Shuffle things back in, and we move ahead to Act 2, which second verse, same as the first. It's the same rules, the same mechanical system.
It's a little bit louder, a little bit worse, so the problems are a little bit bigger, as are the consequences.
Yeah, new set of prompts. Oh boy, if we manage to get the 4 of Wands again, This one
Yes.
that'll be perfect. That would be perfect. Because Four of Wands would be four is something in this area is making you dizzy. What's affecting you?
It's the
No, that
gas.
yeah. Or was that the no? That was the six. That was the
Oh,
Six
is
of
that the six?
Wands.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, it wouldn't be. Oh, so if we got Four of Wands, that would do it because that would put us in the kitchen instead of on the outside.
Yeah.
Okay. So Act Two, the honeymoon's over. You've been living in your new house for a couple of months now. You're unpacked, the walls are decorated, and the luster has started to wear off the fresh paint. But the issues have started to peek through too. Appliances stop working, pipes start leaking, and stairs start creaking. These are more substantial than just airing out a room or tightening a loose screw. These are issues that are going to take days of work to resolve. So 1, 2, 3 cards. Flip them. We've got the Three of Pentacles, which is going to be exterior. You can hear the crackle of arcing electricity. What is the source?
Ooh.
We have the Two of Pentacles. There is a damp spot somewhere in the area. What has it damaged? So that is also on the exterior. And then finally, the Six of Wands.
Imagine that.
It is either always warmer or always colder in this area, being the kitchen and the pantry and all of that. Why?
Nice. Yes.
All right, so
Love
let's
it.
start with figuring out what all we've got going on here. So with the Three of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles, these are both on the exterior or structural. I think staying with that exterior,
Yeah.
this sort of side entryway area where this staircase is, because I think that the steps are the thing that have been damaged.
Yeah.
Because the water, like there's a gutter downspout that's clogged and it's just like spilling over the side of the gutter. And where it's coming down right on that corner, right at these steps. And so it's rotted out the bottom of this post, and that's why it's got that spring to it.
Okay, I like that. And I would say that maybe one of your, not your main lines, but definitely one of your electric lines that run into the house runs down past these steps.
I think it's also running into like the exterior light. Like there's an outdoor light right outside the door at the top of these stairs. And because it's spilling over, it's almost clearing the light, but the eaves are just shallow enough that it's sort of, because with this being a big historic house, they're going to have the half round gutters. They're not going to have the contoured gutters that you see on most modern houses. And so as it's spilling over, it's going to wick back along this curved face of the gutter until it reaches the bottom and then drips down. So it's not going all the way past the eaves of the house. It's going to be coming in, and this drip is happening in such a way that when the wind blows, and this happens to be on like the west facing side of the house, so the wind is going to be blowing in whenever there's storms, the wind will blow some of this drippage from the gutters into this light fixture.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
And so that sizzle, that crackle, that frying bacon crackle that you get whenever electricity is starting to short out on these contacts, I think that is where that's coming from. It's where water has gotten in enough times to where the contacts have started to corrode. And so it's not getting as good of a contact as it used to. And so it's arcing a little bit.
Okay.
And then with the Six of Rods, we're back in the kitchen. We have a spot that's either always warmer or always colder. Why?
Is this the refrigerator going out? Or maybe the oven temp is just like way off, and like, again, you're trying to like bake stuff, but your oven's not getting the heat it's supposed to because you do have that gas leak.
Well, we will have fixed the gas leak.
Okay.
At this point.
Yeah.
I think we may have messed up something with this gas oven range combo unit that we've got here. I think that maybe we cracked something, or maybe we didn't reconnect everything correctly, like in the correct order.
Just an eye that's not working.
And so like there's like a little bit of sediment that's getting in the lines and starting to clog things up. And so the gas flow just isn't quite where it was.
Yeah.
You're just not getting the volume of gas flow
that we were. A little bit of that pancake batter is still blocking the line that you haven't
Oh
noticed
yeah.
yet.
Yeah, a little bit of it got in the line whenever you separated it and you didn't get it
Yeah,
out. Yeah. And now it's gotten all dried up and crusty down
yeah,
like at the inside of the nozzle. And
yes.
so maybe it's gotten stuck on the inside of where the pilot light is supposed to
Ooh,
be.
okay,
And so the pilot light just keeps going out on occasion. And so
okay.
you go to like preheat the oven and you'll come back in 5 minutes and you're smelling gas. You're like, where is that coming from? And you open the oven and you see that it's not lit
Yeah, I like it.
because the pilot light's gone out again.
Okay.
All right. So for our response to the Three of Pentacles, which is our electricity, we've got 21 the world upright. So that is completion, integration, accomplishment, and travel. I think that's pretty concise in that this is one of those few instances where we have identified the issue and we are able to correct it.
Yeah, I think we do this. We do it well, and we do it well enough that our little video vlog thing we've got going on is starting to also grab a bit of traction with it.
Yeah, and I think this gives us that big confidence boost.
Yeah,
Like
maybe a little too
to,
much.
to the point of approaching hubris.
Yes, I was just going to say, yeah, just a hubris. I love it.
Yeah.
So I can fix anything.
So next up is our wet spot and our prompt for that.
Just a little wet spot.
Okay, we have our first reversed card.
Uh-oh.
7 the Chariot reversed.
Ooh.
So self-discipline, opposition, and lack of direction. Okay.
That's reversed. Read that again,
Yes.
reverse.
Self-discipline, opposition, lack of direction.
Oh. We're trying to track down where we're getting that arc, and we can't find it. So like we have to like
No. This isn't the arc. This is the water damage.
Oh, this is still the water damage? Okay.
Yeah, the arc was the 3.
Okay, the arc was a 3, so we did the 3 well. Okay, I had it
we
flipped.
did the 3. We got the world on the 3. So
Okay.
we did flawlessly on
Okay.
on that one.
One more time on the chariot.
Self-discipline, opposition, and lack of direction. I'm picturing this as being an instance of we're able to identify the issue, but not the source. Like we don't think
Yeah,
about
so
the
I'm
fact
thinking-
that the gutter is clogged and leaking all the water out here because maybe it hasn't rained for a few days, and so
Okay.
we just know that there's a big wet spot here. And so we think that maybe it's water that's welling up from the ground. Maybe it's just that this is a, secluded corner and it just doesn't get sunlight and doesn't dry. And so maybe we think that we need to put in some sort of drainage to fix this.
Oh, so like we're trying to dig a whole French drain for it?
Yeah, I think this is
Okay.
like there's a red herring almost in this.
Yeah. Okay.
And that self-discipline, because there is a certain meticulousness that you have to have whenever you're putting in a French drain to make sure that it functions the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think that will be a thing. And that lack of direction, I think that is the interpretation that I'm putting towards this, is that this is them not being able to identify the source of the water. So they're fixing they're fixing the symptom but not the source.
Okay. I'm good with that. I was thinking that maybe they try to fix the gutter, but they don't realize which direction
That
from the joint
that would
goes, so they
also
wind up having to pull everything down.
that would also be a potential thing where they go and they think they got it fixed, but they didn't take into account that gutters are sloped so that it's sloped towards the drains, towards the downspouts, and so whenever they pull it and they clean it and they do their repairs, now they have a belly in the gutter, and so it's still a problem. It's just that it's going to take longer for the problem to manifest itself because
it just builds up and gushes.
Well, it's going to sit there until it manages to corrode its way through the gutter, and now you have a hole in the gutter.
Yeah, I can feel that too. Ooh, those are both good.
Yeah.
I think I want to go with that one, because that kind of leads into that. We said we went a little too far. We started developing some hubris.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And because we are still putting in the drain, we're still fixing the problem. It's just that we're fixing the symptom and not the cause.
Yeah.
I like that one. Yeah. Okay. And then for our kitchen issue, we have 13 death reversed.
Well, good thing it's reversed, right?
So resistance to change, personal transformation, inner purging.
You know what? We're checking this out, and as we're going through, we do get it, but we do have that one moment where we're in the oven and we're trying to strike that match to light the pile of light, and we get that flash, and we might just lose our eyebrows.
Oh yeah. And I think that this is the point in our creator journey where it becomes apparent to us that we may have gotten a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, probably.
This is the first point where we think where we come to the conclusion that we may have bitten off more than we can chew.
That will absolutely happen, yes.
Yeah, because we have gone from home repair to appliance repair at this point. And that is something that sometimes that's something that I don't do.
This is that quick check again. We had the drains and we didn't realize we had the check to the hubris. This is definitely the wrist slap saying, hey, check that hubris.
Yes, this is where we have where the house is definitely giving us that check yourself before you wreck yourself moment.
Yeah.
That come to Jesus moment, that moment of humility, if you will. Okay. So I think we have pretty well covered those three. So we're going to move on to Act 3, which again functions mechanically the same as Acts 1 and 2, just with new prompts. So Act 3, shots fired. Despite your best efforts, you can't seem to keep up with the house. Every time you fix something, something else seems to break, almost as if the house is doing it on purpose. But the house isn't doing it on purpose. That would be crazy. Only a crazy person would think that the house was actively breaking itself to inconvenience the owner, right?
Right.
So your house has upped the ante. These are no longer inconveniences. These are potentially life-threatening issues if left unchecked. From infestations to catastrophic leaks to appliances that are inexplicably electrified, the house is no longer pulling its punches. It is trying to make you leave. It's only a matter of time before someone actually gets hurt. So we are shuffling. We're dealing out our 3 minor arcana cards.
So our end of 2 actually fits, kind of bridges right into this really well. I like
it does. So the first one we've got is the 5 of Wands, which is us back in the kitchen. A hole has suddenly opened up in the area. What caused it? How extensive is the damage? I think this is going to play into our gutter. This is going to play into our leak.
Yeah.
Because when we repaired the gutter and we mispitched it, there's nothing to say that it has to leak over the outside of the gutter.
True.
It's quite possible, even probable, that it's going to leak over the inside of the gutter, especially if we happen to rotate it just a little bit to where the inside of the gutter is just that littlest bit lower than the outside, which will reinforce that we think we fixed it because we don't see any water coming over the outside of it anymore.
Okay. And then if it's going inside, then we're definitely crossing electric as well.
That is a potential, but what we've got is we've got water leaking down the inside of the wall. It's coming in. It's coming in behind the stone facade and down onto the interior of the wall. So
we're starting to get that black mold.
Yeah, I'm thinking though that the thing that's going to happen is that it's going to come down the wall and it's going to hit that subfloor and it's going to pool out towards the center of the room from that.
Oh, you just have like a swimming pool in the middle of your kitchen. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, but it's under the flooring. And with as old as this house is, it's probably going to have tile floors. So you're not going to notice anything until the subfloor fully gives. And so you're walking through and you step on this tile and suddenly this tile goes into the basement.
It's like that scene from Indiana Jones where he's doing the Grail quest and he steps on the false panel.
Exactly.
Yes, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm right there with you now. Okay.
So that is our sudden hole. Next up is 3 of Pentacles. We're staying on the outside of the house. You suddenly have daylight streaming in where there ought not be daylight in this area. What has happened?
Again, that's that gutter.
Yeah, because another thing that will happen, especially with like stone facades that are attached to the house, is if you have water intrusion, especially in colder areas, which we have established that this is not in the South. This is somewhere mid-Atlantic or possibly even up, not quite into New England, but we're talking about, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, somewhere in the upper mid-Atlantic. One of the things that can happen is that the water can get in behind the facade and then it freezes and expands. And so
Yeah.
you end up having the mortar that's holding the rocks onto your wall starts to crack. It starts to separate from the rocks. And then you end up having the whole facade start crumbling off of the front of your house.
Yeah, I like this too. And I think the way we misapplied the gutter initially with the belly and then it turned slightly in towards the house, perhaps either there was like a winter storm that came through or something like that, but as that gives, that section of the gutters actually falls and pulls away from the house and pulls section of it with it.
Uh, Not on this one.
Okay.
Because you don't attach the gutters to the facade. You attach it to
Okay.
the ends of your rafters. You attach it to the
Okay.
roof structure itself.
Okay. Gotcha.
But what we end up having is like a period of maybe 2 months where we have slightly above freezing during the day and then it drops down below freezing at night.
So you get that expansion.
So you get that constant melt and thaw going
Yeah.
on the inside, and that just accelerates this process.
Yes.
And so whenever we fall through the floor, about that same time is when we're trying to track down where this water came from. That's when we find all of this facade that has broken loose and is literally just gravity fit inertia holding it in place.
Yeah.
All right. And then the final one, still on the outside, the 10 of Pentacles. Oh dear. A city building inspector has just arrived to inform you
Oh.
that something in the area is in violation of city building code. What is not to code and how is it in violation?
Oh, this is absolutely that historical districting.
Yes.
They have sent enough warnings and they're done.
Yeah. And because this is supposed to be a more threatening thing, because normally I would say it would be something like you put a modern mailbox out at the end of the driveway, but that's not enough. That's not substantial enough. I think maybe it's that somebody noticed you tearing the facade off of the house and they come back and they tell you that no, you can't just take the facade off. You have to make sure that you put all of these stones back in exactly the same place
Yes.
that
Okay.
that you took them from.
Now again, if this was something West Coast, I would say that like maybe they've updated like an earthquake law. Oh, maybe that could be it too. Again, if we're mid Atlantic and you've got, you have to be able to withstand like storms. So like if you're in a hurricane zone,
Yeah.
you have to be able, and you are out of code because your house is so old and you are no longer quote quote grandfathered in because you have recently changed ownership of the home.
Yeah. And, going back to our gutters, actually, I remember a news story. God, this was probably 15 years ago now, if not more. Actually, no, it would have been more. It would have been about 20 years ago because I was still in high school when this happened. There was somebody who had one of these historic homes up in Abingdon, Virginia, who they had gone out of town for a week and they came home to find that somebody had stolen all of the copper guttering off of their house. And then so they went and they hired a company to come out and replace the gutters. And then the historic district told them that no, you have to put copper gutters back because
Oh,
it's a
sweet Jesus.
historic house. It has to maintain the appearance. And it was a whole big news story about because the insurance company wouldn't pay for the copper gutters, they would only pay for the standard aluminum gutters, the modern aluminum gutters. And so and it was a whole big thing. And I don't remember how that ended up ultimately resolving, but there was a lot of hurt feelings with regards to that.
Yeah.
And I think that
feels right.
that feels better. That feels more
That does feel right. Yeah.
like we have acknowledged that the gutters were the problem. And so we took the gutters off of the house and they came and told us that we have to put the gutters back.
Yeah. I like that. Now, again, if you're willing to roll a high low, when we stepped through the floor, Did we injure ourselves? Did we potentially sprain or break an ankle? Because at this point, we said the stakes are higher, and the house is threatening our health at this point.
All right, so are we saying that low is yes, high is no?
Yes.
Um, that's a 10. No, we did not actually injure ourselves.
Okay.
Nothing but our pride.
All right. We're good for it. I like it.
I think maybe we were actually recording ourselves, like selfie mode,
Yeah.
recording ourselves when we stepped into this hole in the floor.
We were recording ourselves and talking about how good we've worked on the pipes and stuff. And how
Yes.
the amount of work that and how successful we've been on the kitchen. And it was alive. It wasn't a recorded, it was alive.
Oh yes, there's a live stream. Absolutely. We were doing a live stream AMA and
Yeah.
and oh yeah. Okay. So let's do our responses. So for the 5 of rods, which is the hole in the floor in the kitchen. Okay, this works. This is 3, the Empress reversed. So creative block and dependence on others.
Oh, at this point, you realize that this is probably going to be more than what you think you can afford out of pocket. And so you start asking for donations to continue fixing the house.
Yeah, this is where you decide to start up the Ko-Fi to fund
Yeah.
to fund your project, to make your creator fund so that you can keep working on this. And also this sort of creative block. You have this moment where this is a very sudden thing. This is something that
Yeah.
has put
Completely out of left field.
completely out of left field, put egg on your face, possibly literally if you were eating breakfast while you were walking around doing the AMA.
Yes.
And so perhaps you are also relying on commentary from the people who are watching your AMA, watching your live stream, seeking advice from your community to try and get what this is. And it's breaking that illusion that you are a competent individual who knows what they're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So for our 3 of Pentacles, which is our stone facade that's falling off the side of the house, we've got the Fool upright. Beginnings, innocence, spontaneity, and a free spirit. Let's see here. I think that this becomes a thing where we are able to identify what the problem was, and we're able to finally put all of the pieces back together, and we understand what needs to be done now. It has given us that pinpoint to tether ourselves to figure out, this is the starting point of this job. This is what I have to do to get started, is I have to remove this facade so I can access everything.
Yeah, I think as we do this too, this is probably where we start trying to cut that corner and going outside of the historical district code.
Yeah.
That probably prompts the next incident.
And I think that this might be one of those things that is a big enough project that technically we're supposed to pull a building permit to do it first.
Oh, yes. Okay, definitely.
And that would be another thing that a city inspector would come out and say, hey, where's your permit?
Where's your paperwork? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that spontaneity too, because we identified what the problem was and we're like, yeah, we know what this is. And they just dove right into it without thinking about any of the logistics behind it.
Yeah.
It's just something that we know what needs to happen. We're going to make it happen. Okay, and then with our 10 of Pentacles, with how are we going to respond to this building inspector? 15, the devil upright.
Oh my. And your horse too.
So shadow self, attachment, addiction, restriction, sexuality. Is this our hallmark moment?
It might be. It might be, yeah.
Are we going to attempt seduction to get out of...
Roll seduction.
Roll for seduction.
With the D20. Where's your D20?
Let's see here. We're here. We'll see. There's a D20. What do we get? A 7.
Oh, it was it's the introduction. It's the starting of the Hallmark movie. Yeah. They are not impressed.
No.
They like the house. They are not impressed.
Yeah. This is the part where we find out that they're a married Mormon with 3 kids at home. and they're like very uncomfortable with the fact that our homeowner is coming onto them in a
Yes.
potentially romantic
We tried.
bent. Yeah,
We tried.
absolutely. Yeah. So I think, yeah, that is sort of a thing. They try to charm their way out of this citation,
Yes.
and it backfires. It backfires
Horribly.
bad. All right, so we now have our house that has a hole in the wall and a hole in
Dear
the
Liza,
floor in
dear
the
Liza.
kitchen and all of that. Okay, so I think that this will bring us properly into Act 4. The final straw. This house is trying to kill you. You're certain of it. But why? What have you ever done to earn its ire? You've only ever loved it, fixed what was broken, cleaned what was soiled. Why doesn't it love you back? Well, two can play at this game. You won't take this lying down. When the dust settles, only one of the two of you will be left standing. It's gone beyond reason, beyond pragmatism. This is a matter of honor, of principle. You won't let the house beat you. So it's time for your final stand. You have weathered everything the house has thrown at you so far, and you still persist. Now the house has pulled out all of the stops and is actively trying to push you out, whether in a moving van or a body bag. Draw one card from the Minor Arcana Faces deck to determine your prompt, and draw one card from the Major Arcana to guide your response. Continue drawing cards from the Minor Arcana deck until you draw a king, at which point you proceed to Act 5 and end the game.
Okay.
All right, so starting off, we've got the Queen of Wands. So this is back into the kitchen.
Okay.
One of the previous issues with your home, which you thought you had fixed, has reared its ugly head again. What problem has returned? Obviously, it's the pilot light in the stove has gone out again.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pilot light in the oven has gone out again, and you're not sure what it is because you pull it apart and you cleaned it and it's clogged up again. So let's see here. Let's shuffle up the Major Arcana cards so that we have fresh, and we've got the Fool.
Of course.
Upright.
We're really, really heavy on the Fool this tonight.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't come up with the Fool in Act 5. That's gonna be bad news for everybody. But so beginnings, innocence, spontaneity, and a free spirit. I think this is one of those where we approach this with the mentality of I fixed this once, I can fix it again.
Okay. Or I'm thinking that we're just spontaneity. We're just going to rip the oven out and replace the oven. We're like, just screw it. New oven.
Yeah, honestly, I think so because this is
You're just fed
this
up.
is the final straw. This is
Yeah. And you're just fed up and you're like, screw it, new oven.
It's
Yeah.
like I don't have the time or the spoons to deal with an oven that isn't going to work, and so I'm going to replace it with an oven that does work.
And it's a very modern oven.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. It's got like the air fryer. It's got the convection heating. It's very, very modern against the theme and the feeling of the house, which the house probably does not enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, next is going to be the Knight of Wands. So still in the kitchen.
Of course.
So there's an issue with your home that has evaded all attempts to repair, and now you have just resigned yourself to the fact that it's broken and you'll have to live with it that way. What is the object of your resignation?
We go full electric oven.
Yeah, that could be it.
We're just going to try to cut and cap the gas pipe to the kitchen and go full electric oven.
Yeah. I mean, that would absolutely. Well, I think in that case, then the oven is still the object of our resignation. And then
Yes.
for our response, we have 21 the world reversed. We have gone full circle. Seeking personal closure, shortcuts, and delays. Yes, absolutely 110%. We are replacing this vintage gas oven with an electric combination oven range.
It's like a Samsung. It's a Bluetooth.
Yeah, we're getting rid of that. It was like a powder blue enamel cast iron thing,
Yes.
and we're replacing it with a brushed stainless.
Yes.
Yeah,
But this oven's huge and it's like barely fits through the doorways, and then you have to get it like down the stairs to get up and out. And it's like cast iron, so it's extremely heavy.
Oh yes. Yeah, and I think because it is the object of our resignation, this old cast iron stove is just going to live in the corner. We're not going to actually take it out of the kitchen. We're just
Okay.
going to shove it in the corner and leave it there.
We'll deal with it later.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Perfect.
Because we're seeking personal closure, shortcuts, and delays. The shortcut is we're not actually removing the old oven from the premises. We're just getting it out of the way.
Or you know what? Maybe we just shove it down, but we never actually take it out of the yard. And again, this is that historical. So now you have this like old discarded oven just sitting in this historical yard, obviously lowering the land value.
Oh yeah, that would also be a way to do that. Yes. Okay. So next up, we've got the Queen of Swords. This is the first swords we've gotten. So bedrooms and living areas. So one of the previous issues with your home, which you thought you had fixed, rears its ugly head again. What problem has returned?
This is that water rot from the gutters.
Yeah, I think this is that living room, entertainment room just off the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've opened up the wall in the kitchen, but we didn't continue on. And because of the way that water does whenever it gets inside of the walls and ceilings of your house, it never goes straight down. It always goes off to the side and then goes down. So part of this water traveled along the header, along the top board of your studs, and it came down inside the wall in the entertainment area, and that's when the black mold starts coming out.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is where we're getting our mold check.
We see the wallpaper is starting to bubble and peel off, and it's starting to grow this black mold all over it.
Yeah.
And then our response to that is going to be for the Emperor upright, which is authority, establishment, structure, a father figure. Authority, establishment, and structure. I think that we are going to try and twist this in our social media presence and trying to establish ourselves as somebody who has done this sort of thing before. And we're going to try and make it seem routine, seem like a common thing to do.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, this is just water
it's
damage.
Mold, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
It's mold. It happens.
Yeah. Oh, silly water. It just does what water and mold does. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
This isn't a big deal. You're like coughing and hacking your lungs out every night.
Yeah. All right. And then the next one, we have our king.
Okay.
And it's the King of Cups.
Oh my.
So this cups was bathrooms, utility areas, including attics and crawl spaces.
Okay.
So this would be like the bathrooms, the mud rooms, like the entry foyer, attics or basements. And I think because this leak has been the driving force of everything, I think that maybe what we have realized is that as we start working on this mold issue in this entertainment room, in this parlor room, and we're having to cut out large sections of the wall, which it's plaster and lath because of how old this is. This is not a drywall wall.
Yeah.
And as we're opening things up to air it out and to clean it out and to repair it, that's when we notice that the subfloor under that front foyer area is starting to rot out because it's been saturated too. And like there's this very ornate, very flashy tile work in that area because as we established in the 1920s, this was a party house. This was a house where a lot of entertaining happened, where wealthy and influential people came to hang out. Yes. And so there had to be that display of affluence, that display of taste, of class. And so this front foyer entryway with its like marble floors and such, that was part of the visual appeal of this house. And now it is compromised because the subfloor is rotting out underneath it.
Can I be evil?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have that particularly going even up from saying that maybe like this is like kind of an upper level kitchen. The kitchen wasn't on that base level.
Okay.
And you have that living area. That floor starts to give and it sags and you have like one of those old brass heavy chandeliers. And that actually falls and hits the marble entrance foyer and shatters the marble beneath it.
Yeah. That would absolutely do it. That would be the issue that would tip me over the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm working on resolving all of these issues and then just suddenly this giant 200-year-old crystal chandelier that's been hanging in this front foyer just releases from the ceiling and crashes to the floor, not only destroying the chandelier, but demolishing the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would absolutely be a final straw for me. Absolutely. And just so we can see, our response to this is going to be Seven the Chariot upright. Oh, I don't think so. Control, willpower, success, action, determination.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
I think that's how we project ourselves through our social media
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah.
I think this is all an act. This is us trying our damnedest to hold it all together. But on the inside, we are just absolutely falling apart.
You know what happens during this time too?
What?
We're tying into the previous act, like just as like right after we're taking stock of what happens, we get a knock on the door and we're being served papers for harassment from the city inspector.
Where we're being issued a restraining order?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, so we are in a grand old place right now. So moving ahead to Act 5, the dust settles. Mayhem, chaos, blood and dust,
Woohoo.
tears and plaster. These are the instruments of this antagonistic symphony. The outside world no longer exists. Your universe is yourself, your tools, and this house. Let the final showdown commence. All right, so we have drawn one of the kings from the Minor Arcana Faces deck. It was the King of Cups. This determines the location of the final battlefield of this war between yourself and your domicile. Nothing remains but to divine the outcome. So this is the point where we return the homeowner and house cards to the Major Arcana deck. So for reference, the homeowner card is the Hermit, and the house card is the Lovers. So we put them all in, we shuffle it up, and then we draw cards from the deck one at a time until we draw either the homeowner card, which is the Hermit, the house card, which is the Lovers, the Fool, or the World. So we keep drawing one at a time until one of those four cards comes up.
Okay.
So we're starting off with 4 the Emperor, then 2 the High Priestess, 1 the Magician, 8 Strength, 21 the World. We have come up with the World as our final resolution.
Okay.
Beyond all odds, despite all of the hostility and vitriol mustered on one or both sides, something happens that brings out a mutual understanding, possibly even a truce. At the end of the story, the enemies have become acquaintances, if not lovers. What was the event which brought about this understanding between you and the house? Are you still living in the house, or did the event lead you to realize that the best thing you could do was live separate lives? What was the house's ultimate purpose in attempting to push you out? Was a third party responsible for all of the issues, or was it actually the house operating of its own accord?
What were the cards we pulled before the World?
We pulled the Emperor, the High Priestess, the Magician, and Strength.
Okay, so with those, going with Emperor, High Priestess, Magician, and Strength, either the person serving the papers or perhaps the lawyer we get to defend against said restraining order, we get pulled in court, and maybe that is the start of our Hallmark movie. And seeing the house, we are able to win or somehow get enough from that, and then possibly with the house, since it's in a historical district, maybe we get it listed as a quote, a historical landmark, so we get a grant to kind of fix it. But again, with that Hallmark moment, that could assuage the house's goal.
I think if we're going off of the Hallmark moment and going to, let's say, the Magician,
Okay.
I think the Magician is the contractor that comes in to do the repairs. Because at the end of all of this, we are able to accept that this is something that is beyond our abilities. And we
call the community in to help.
I don't even think it's the community. I think we tap into the trust fund. I think because we have established that we're somebody who has the resources and can live comfortably if properly managed. And
Okay.
I think that we are going to bite the bullet and draw more than we need to just live
Okay.
from this resource pool, which is going to affect us a great deal in the long run. That's going to greatly limit our potential income, our passive income for the future. But we need to do this to bring somebody else in who is a professional who knows what they're doing to do the repairs on this house. And that's the person that is
The Hallmark.
the flannel wearing Christmas tree farmer in a Hallmark movie.
Okay.
That is the contractor that comes in, is the ultimate romantic partner at
Okay.
the end of the Hallmark movie.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. I think that's how it ends up resolving.
Fair. I like it.
And just in time for Christmas.
Yes. Big old Christmas tree.
Yeah, they managed to get everything fixed and patched up to celebrate. They have a big community Christmas get together and have like a 20s themed Christmas party in the house to celebrate everything being fully restored and back to the way it's supposed to be.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. I like it. Yeah. We had a happy ending.
Yeah. Yeah, the world is the only happy ending, by the way. So we had a 1 in 21 chance of getting a happy ending and a 3 in 21 chance of it not ending very well for at least one person.
We pulled the full, what, 3 times, 4 times?
3 times, yes. We pulled the
Yeah,
full
so I
3
mean-
times. And the very next card was the lovers. So the house would have
won.
done. And looking at everything, the fool ended up on the very bottom. So it was never going to be mutually assured destruction.
I like it. No, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
I like that. I like how that turned out. This ended up much better than my initial playtest of this game. I think my initial playtest, the house ended up winning, and like my homeowner ended up having a mental breakdown, like a complete psychotic episode.
I like it.
Yeah.
Ooh, you summoned the Amityville house.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Forever Home. That is the game that I wrote for the Animesis Jam. That is the game that you can find on our itch page, undercommontaste.itch.io, for $3 whole.
Woohoo.
And so go and pick that up and have some fun playing it. There are definitely some elements that, now that I'm coming back to it, 2 years later, with all of the game design information that I have learned over those 2 years, if I have the time over my daughter's Christmas break, the first thing I'm going to try and do is get All Is Well With My Soul layout done so that I can get it released. But if I'm able to do that and I still have some time, I might try and do a revised second edition of Forever Home with some modifications, some clarifications. Like, for example, I had forgotten until I got to the page for Act 5 that we don't actually draw a response major arcana card when we draw a king. We just go straight into Act 5.
Gotcha.
And then the whole concept of flipping half of the major arcana cards upside down so that you have a chance of upright or reversed interpretations of the cards as your responses to the prompts. That is not in the original rule set, and that's absolutely something that I would suggest adding to help flesh everything out. It's been a long time, and I have slept since I did my playtest, so I don't remember it exactly, but I think that when I did my playtest, I was using upright and reversed for my prompt responses. And this is a perennial thing that you'll find with game designers, is that if they don't have other people read and playtest their games, which I didn't, I playtested this myself to make sure that the mechanics worked, and I published it because I was on a deadline. I was a game jam. This actually came out. I actually got this turned in like the day after the jam closed, and Sam Lee was gracious enough to let me go ahead and include it in the game jam anyway. But yeah, that is something that you run into as a game designer, is that sometimes you understand how it works in your head, but you don't always remember to put that on the page.
That does happen.
And this is one of those instances where I understood in my head that that was something that was supposed to happen, but I forgot to put it on the page to let other people know. But anyway, that brings us to the end of our playthrough of Forever Home. This was an interesting game for me to design. The layout it's not incredible. It's functional.
Functional is good.
Functional is good. The font I used and the colors that I used was supposed to be evocative of blueprints. If I were to go back and do it again, I would probably do like a faint grid behind everything rather than just a flat color to bring a little bit of contrast into it. But all of the images that I put into this game, they're all a bunch of floor plans that I put into this game. They all came from a book called Home Plan Suggestions from 1921. These were all layouts for mail order homes.
Okay.
And so, yeah, all of the blueprints that you can see on the pages throughout the book, they all come from that book. There's just a collection of floor plans that you could order materials lists in the 20s and have sort of like akin to the Sears Roebuck houses, where you buy a house and then they ship all of the parts to the lot where the house is going to be, and you have a construction company assemble everything like a giant IKEA set.
Nice.
This is akin to that, but it was more of you get the book of floor plans and you would find the floor plan that you wanted, and then you would order the blueprints for the house that matched the floor plan that you wanted, so that you have the designs to build the house. So it's akin to that, but it's not the same. You're not mail ordering all of the rafters and the studs and all the flooring and all of the appliances. You're not mail ordering all of the stuff. You're just mail ordering the blueprints to build the house.
Okay.
And then the illustration on the cover is actually using the same colors, the same fonts, and the same image as a 1921 Sears Roebuck mail order home catalog.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was fun. It was a fun, interesting endeavor. Actually, rewind a minute. The image was from a Sears Roebuck homes catalog. The cover design was based off of another floor plan book, specifically called Selecting Your Home, and it was from the 1920s. Yeah, this was all designed after 20s mail order home catalog. Anyway, we have rattled on for entirely longer than I intended to. But we had a whole lot of fun doing it, and I'm really happy with how the game ended up turning out. So thank you everyone for listening. If you have any comments, suggestions, or ideas, send us an email, undercommontaste@gmail.com, or come join us on our Discord. You can find a link to the Discord on our website, undercommontaste.com. I have recently revamped the Discord a little bit to convert it from, I didn't realize I hadn't done this yet, from a private server to a community server. So now we have a rules page and everything. When you show up, you have to announce yourself and you have to note that you have read the rules. And so I'm going to try here in the new year to be a little more active and be a little more intentional in starting conversations and maintaining conversations on the Discord, trying to build up a little bit more community. So if you are a listener and you want to help be in that community, I invite you to come over and join us and chat with us, because I really want to work towards that.
Yeah. Now, again, that's hopefully something I want to work on as well, too, with the new year. Another thing I'd like to do this year, too, is if they do the Solo and Not Alone bundle again this year, I would like to, again, test more of those out and get those out to the community, and probably have a page or at least a section on our Discord for that. But that's something you can also find with us. If this is your first time listening, we're so glad you found us. You can find all of our other episodes. Just search Under Common Taste on your podcatcher of choice. And you can find our talks with other game content creators, our homebrew stuff, or our deep dives into RPG lore, like our current Dragon arc that we've been working on for the past several months.
Yeah. So this is going to be the last episode of 2025. We always take the last 2 weeks of the year off because of the holidays. We will be back with our next episode, the first episode of the new year, on Wednesday, January 14th, because the normal release would have landed us one on New Year's Eve. Obviously, we're not going to be doing one on New Year's Eve. So we're going to jump another 2 weeks past that to January 14th will be the first episode of 2026. And that's where we're going to be doing our next Dragons episode. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for joining us all this year. We look forward to seeing you in 2026. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the new year.
Happy holidays and happy gaming.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Undercommon Taste. Our theme song is Massacre Anne, written and performed by Mary Kroll and used with permission. You can find Mary online at marykroll.bandcamp.com or on Patreon at patreon.com/Dr. Mary C. Kroll. Our logo is by David Sutherland. You can find more of David's work on deviantart.com/David Sutherland or on instagram.com/Willex_73. We'll be back in 2 weeks, so stay safe, and we'll see you then.